Welcome to Aurora, It's Your Business, the program where we shine a light on the people and companies shaping the future of the Aurora region. I'm Kelly O'Brien, President and CEO of the Aurora Regional Economic Alliance, your local economic development and Chamber of Commerce partner, and your host. Twice a month, we will sit down with the business leaders, entrepreneurs, and change makers driving growth, innovation, and opportunity right here in the Aurora region. Whether it's manufacturing, retail, or the vital voices of women and minority-owned businesses, Aurora, it's your business, and we're here to talk about it. In today's program, we are spotlighting entrepreneurs and change makers right here from our community. Today, we're thrilled to sit down with two powerhouse Black women, business owners who are not only transforming their industries, but also uplifting those around them. Our guests are Donna Jolly, founder and president of WellZen Corporation, and the visionary behind Halo Heat Sauna Studios, a wellness destination redefining how we care for our bodies and our minds. And Sandra Harrison, the dynamic founder and CEO of DVA Leadership and Development Consultants, a trailblazer in training and professional development rooted in equity, empowerment, and joy. We'll explore their journeys, lessons learned, and what it really takes to lead with purpose and vision in Aurora today. Let's dive in. So ladies, I have to tell you, I've been so looking forward to this conversation, and one of the great joys of the work that I am doing now is getting to know people like you. And it is both of your journeys, I think, can really help our audience think about wanting to be entrepreneurs and giving them the direction and the excitement on how to be entrepreneurs and what it takes to be an entrepreneur. And you both kind of came at it from, different directions. And so, Sandra, I want to also give a shout out to all the work that you do for the community. And we have worked closely because of your leadership with the Quad County African American Chamber and the work that we are doing with Women of Influence. Mm-hmm. I don't know how you somehow make 24 hours in a day, like more than 24 hours for most people because of all that you pack in. But how did you come into this entrepreneurial role that you have with DVA?
Wow, that's a great question, and good morning. Thank you for having me. DVA is a labor of love. I spent over 25 years in youth services, right? I spearheaded a prevention department on Chicago's West Side where I walked in as a parent seeking help. My family was struggling and we needed help. And my son at the time was being recruited by gang members, and my husband was marred in addiction, and we walked into my son's community-based school organization, and there was an organization there to help us. And I did that work for over 25 years, and one day I got a phone call that the governor didn't renew our budget. And I went home for 2 years. And between my tears, I decided I can do the work that I've been trained to do on my own. And I formalized and I started it. That was the beginning.
Congratulations.
That was the beginning.
Thank you. Thank you for the important work that you do in the lives that you touch.
Yeah, thanks.
Donna, how about you? Tell us a little bit about your journey and how you decided to create the spa.
Well, thanks again for having us. My journey started a little bit different. I started in the corporate world within the healthcare industry and life sciences. I did a bit within the actual industry and then a bit within management consulting. And after a while, I said, I need to branch out on my own. I need to do something different, and I need to do something that aligns with who I am as an individual. And so took about a year off and did the entire planning, talked with my husband, who's a partner in the business, and said, I think this is what we should do. And I think this would make me happy. And now here I am. And I am a lot happier. I am a lot happier.
Well, and so tell us a little bit about Halo Heat.
Halo Heat. So Halo Heat is private salt and sauna suites that we have a focus on helping you from the inside out. So salt therapy is really great for your respiratory system and your skin health. Sauna therapy is great for your cardiovascular, detoxing, weight loss, things of that nature. And all of it is around trying to help people de-stress, because we're in very stressful times. And so looking for ways to create micro rituals that people can do more frequently to help them, stay calmer, relaxed, and more productive. So that's the main part of Halo Heat.
And what makes Halo Heat unique from other spas?
So we have a focus on full holistic care. So there's most spas, you can only go, maybe once or twice because of the expense. So we have created something that is more reasonably priced, that you can incorporate and use it more frequently to actually get the benefits that you need on the ongoing basis, be it helping your respiratory system if you suffer from like allergy, asthma, COPD, anything of that nature, any kind of inflammatory respiratory issues. Having regular salt treatments will help you keep that, symptoms at bay. With the sauna treatments, again, de-stressing, detoxing, helping you process through some of those negative energies or emotions that we may be feeling, based on either our work lives or, politically or whatever it is that's keeping us, really, really tight. And then we also include layering other modalities like vibroacoustic therapy, which studies in Japan are coming out saying that vibration is actually good in helping fat loss and fat reduction. We have aromatherapy, chromotherapy, using light, red light therapy, helping with collagen production. So we're taking a holistic approach, allowing you to layer in modalities, and within less than 90 minutes of your time, you could have what you would have to pay an exorbitant amount in if you go to one of the larger spas. You can have it done for you, touchless wellness, very quickly, more frequently, which means you get more benefit.
What a wonderful and unique business that we have right here in our backyard. So Sandra, tell us about the work that you do and the customers that you have.
Wow. Our customer base is broad. We work primarily with nonprofit organizations, but we consider ourselves corporate trainers. We are in schools, we are in faith-based communities. Everywhere that there are people and teams that are working together, we're kind of working with them. The goal of our work is to make sure that folks know how to work better together. There is so much technical training that folks have to do to get their job done. But sometimes where they lack are some of those soft skills in working together, right? Better working together. How do we effectively communicate? How do we manage our time appropriately? Things like that. And those things happen when people have an opportunity to explore them. So we pull groups together to work together on things like team building, right? And an activity might take on a whole new life form. We might simply say, hey, take the items in front of you and create a challenge at work and a solution for that challenge. And when folks pull back and think about that, it's way outside of what they're used to doing in the norm. But when you watch what happens, the creativity that is unlocked, the unimaginable force that starts to move one partner into another, connecting them as a team, they're suddenly able to see and do things that they haven't been able to do before. It's really exciting.
And so would you say that in terms of, a lot of times things ebb and flow, right?
Absolutely.
In terms of what's popular. Corporations, will offer certain benefits to employees, and then it kind of fades out. So where would you say in the spectrum we are right now, especially with people, that were home for several years before COVID and now kind of coming back? Do you see leaders recognizing how important your services are? Because again, it's a very changed environment.
It is a changed environment, and absolutely ebb and flow. There are some leaders who absolutely believe we have to invest in our professional development training. Our people are the bottom line. However, there are also organizations that in tough times, training and development is the first thing you want to take off that budget line. We can't afford outside help, and people are hired to do their jobs, and that's what they should be doing. So you're right. It depends on the organization leadership.
But it would seem to me that particularly in difficult times, that it's more important than ever, because the staff is going to be more stressed and the workload may increase because maybe they're downshifting. And so by having you there to help through that transition would probably lead to more productivity and a happier staff.
That's the argument that I take to the front door. That's the argument, absolutely.
So, ladies, we talked about being entrepreneurs. And in preparation for today's conversation, I came across some information that I think is so important to share with our audience. And there was, since the onset of COVID, Black small business owners in Illinois surged by 124%, with Black women leading this growth. And in 2023, the Illinois Department of Commerce and Economic Opportunity with Chicago State University and the Chicago Urban League, they produced a study, the Illinois Statewide Black Business Survey. And although the survey does not specifically look at data for Black women-owned businesses, the respondents were 64% Black women. And so therefore you can kind of take that next leap, indicating that much of the entrepreneurship activity in the state is happening because of Black women. And so what's also really exciting is that Aurora stands out as a city fostering economic success for Black residents, and that the city government has had a program called Business Equity, which aims to increase the participation of minority and women-owned businesses in city contracts, offering education and resources to help these businesses scale. In addition, for those of you watching or listening, there is a Facebook group called Aurora Black Business Connections, founded by local author Elogenia Hadley. And so I encourage folks to look that up. So you, again, are kind of at the leading edge of 124% growth, right? Right? Yes, exactly. Thumbs up on that. Help people that are thinking, maybe I want to be an entrepreneur, but maybe they don't know how to get started, or maybe they're afraid of that risk. Let's start there. If they've got even so much as a thought in their mind that they want to be an entrepreneur, what would you tell them to do? Sandra?
Do it.
Do it. All right.
I would absolutely encourage them to do it. Listen, every day is a scary day. Every day is a scary day. And you can talk, if you talk to my husband, if you've ever had the pleasure, he'll tell you that I have a mini panic attack a day. I'm going to find a job. I'm going to find a job. I'm going to look for a job. I'm going back to work. And then you take a deep breath. If you're lucky, you go to Halo Pete. You take a deep breath and you stop and you think about the things that you now can control. I don't have to wait for approvals. I don't have to think, can I go and talk to this CEO versus this one? I can make those informed decisions. I can follow the benefit of the work, and I can share that with other people. I can do that all on my own. So I would encourage people, if you think there is a space that you can carve out and control, if you think there is something that you can do to bring benefit back to your community, back to your state, back to our world, by all means, do it.
Donna?
I agree wholeheartedly with what Sandra has said. In addition, I think having a plan. So, the very first step that you should do is, as you're thinking through, think through what your model would look like. What are the things that you're going to need? And then reach out to the community, not just your friends and family, but the business community. What I've found so far is that within the business community, people are actually willing to help you. Everyone that I've come across has said, "Hey, what do you need?" or "How can I help you?" or "Let's do something together." So I think really kind of stepping outside of that comfort zone and being okay playing in that gray area, but then also searching out people that are like-minded will help you in your journey.
Absolutely. And to follow up on that a little bit, Donna, I walked myself into a search, right? Where can an entrepreneur begin? Like literally a Google search. And I found in my local community, Entrepreneurs Academy. I walked into the door. Guess what I want to be? An entrepreneur. I had no idea what that meant. And we somehow think that being an entrepreneur is just going to be kind of singularly focused like your last job was. But suddenly you're the garbage man and the person running the office and the person and doing the interviews and the person doing the outreach, all of those things. But when I walked into Entrepreneurs Academy, they allowed me to organize those things, from creating a business plan to putting me in a network with like-minded business members, both women of color and the absolute opposite of that. They gave me a spectrum in which I could kind of work within, and it was awesome.
And I'm so happy for people to be able to hear about these resources. What misconceptions do you think exist for people who are thinking about being an entrepreneur? And again, what would you like to kind of help them understand from a misconception standpoint?
I think one of the things, well, there's two things I'll touch on. The first is tying into what you said, that you are responsible for way more than you would ever normally be responsible for when you start working for yourself and or hiring others to work for you.
Yes.
So having flexibility, being able to adapt quickly, keeping yourself open and not so rigid and it must be a certain way. Because when things start happening, even though you may have a great plan, you may have to modify that plan. So you need to maintain a level of flexibility. The other thing that I think a lot of people think about is funding and funding for their businesses. And most people are like, oh, you take out loans, you go to the SBA. Well, there are other types of funding that you can look for outside of even angel investors or trying to find venture capital. You can use what's called a rollover for business startup. It's called the ROBS. It is something that was created through the U.S. government that allows you to use your 401k and IRA dollars without penalty in order to invest in yourself. But you have to go through a very stringent process of accountability and accounting because you are using those dollars that are for retirement. So you're building something more for yourself using your retirement funds, but then that helps kind of ease some of the burden that you may have with if you're trying to look for funding options.
Okay, so Donna, let me just understand this. I can take my Roth IRA and let's just say I have $100,000 in it, hypothetically, and with no penalty, I can use that to start my business?
Yes.
Isn't that exciting?
Yes.
That's pretty exciting.
Yes, you roll it. You work with a financial advisor that handles these types of business startups, and they'll help you roll it over, and then you'll be able to use those funds for your operations.
So, I mean, there's that. And then, as you mentioned, I mean, there is the opportunity to get different SBA loans and angel investors. There's a number of ways to fund starting a business.
Yes.
And there is a number of ways to find out about how to do that. And that's something that the Alliance is putting in place because, as the Alliance is a new organization, which is the result of, a couple groups coming together under one umbrella. And we are looking with a primary mission of growing jobs. And so as we continue to put the foundation together and we want to support entrepreneurs and support small businesses, and we will be a place that entrepreneurs can come and then be able to connect them with resources like you're talking about. And so Sandra, how did you go about kind of the initial capital that was needed for DVA?
There is, I think, a misconception that you've got to dig in that way. I started my business actively raising 6 children, which is who my business is named for. DVA, the name of my business, is the initials of our 6 children. So there was no money. There was no extra money to start a business. There was a strategic plan. This week to buy groceries and add swag. This week we're going to buy groceries, do the laundry, but have to fly to Florida for a client's training. So it was balance. It was hard work. It was family. It was friends. It was community resources and access to finding those resources that are sometimes very obvious in our community or sometimes pretty hidden. Is how I became so involved in the community, because you've got to navigate those things and you've got to know that those opportunities are out there. They're out there.
They are. And you know what? I think it goes back to having that fire in your belly. And when you are determined and you know that you are on the right path and this is the work that you want to do, you can make it happen.
You can make it happen.
Can you help me understand what does it mean to each of you to be Black women entrepreneurs?
Do you want to go first?
Whoa. Black women have been forward-facing forever. We have to be. In our families, in our communities, in our churches. It means so much because as we grow, as I grow as an African American, not just a woman, I learn more and more about the history of my culture and understanding our real history and allowing my voice to talk about my story, Donna's story, other entrepreneurs, the Whitney Loves, the Yolanda Dunns of our community, allowing those stories to come forward and say to a young Black girl looking up at us that this is possible despite all of that, fills that fire in my belly.
And I'm so glad that you mentioned, young women and young girls, because you two are role models. And it is so important that they hear and that they see these examples.
Absolutely.
And
Donna?
I think you used the word that I was going to use as role model. And I see my position, and I've always kind of seen my position as I'm helping those that are coming after me. And so as an entrepreneur, as a Black woman, as a person that has done a lot of different things, I'm always trying to understand my positioning is setting the table for the next generation, and reaching back and helping them along the journey. It's like, hey, I've learned this and done these things.
Right.
Take that information, use that information, and go past me.
Right.
And being okay with knowing that they're going to go past me, and plotting them the whole way, like, you go.
Championing them forward. Absolutely.
And, we are living in very challenging times, for a number of reasons. So again, kind of getting that word out, what would you say to our audience in terms of where to start?
You're going to need a business plan. You need a plan. You need a plan. You need a plan. So there are women business development centers. There are the Alliance. There are your local chambers. Get a business plan. You need to know what you're doing, what your mission is, what your vision is for this work, how it's going to fit, what problems it's going to solve, who are your customers. There's so many small things to know. And I think, to go back to your original question, what are the misconceptions? Folks think that you kind of wake up, with a dream one day, and the next day I'm going to call the bank, and the day after that, and by the weekend I'm going to be an entrepreneur, and next week I'm going to fly to Spain.
Right, I'm a millionaire.
It's just not that simple. There are a lot of moving pieces. Another misconception is folks tend to think, I'm making the money, I can manage the money, and that's not always true. You sometimes need outside help to do that.
I think
it's tax season. You got to get those things right.
That's an excellent, just being able to surround yourself with that expertise
Absolutely.
is so critical. Have you both had experiences where you have been surrounded by kind of a support network and people that have complementary skill sets, and kind of understanding your strengths and weaknesses?
We were invited here by Kelly O'Brien.
Yes, well, I'm honored that you're here, and I'm very appreciative. But talk to me about kind of understanding your strengths and weaknesses, because sometimes you can have a blind spot to that.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I think the fun part of going into business for yourself is figuring out what you're actually good at and being okay with what you're not good at, and finding somebody that's good at it.
Correct.
So my business partner is my husband.
Mm-hmm.
And most people are like, you're with him all day, every day. And it's like, yes. And I still love him, which is great. But he is great at creative and marketing, and he is more outgoing than I am. So I'm like, please go talk to people. Please just go talk to them. He's great at those things. I'm more of the background. I'm the operations. I'm the one drafting the plan and the strategy and saying what needs to be done. And then I go find the rest of the people to go help me do it. Yeah. So knowing what you're good at and saying it's okay that I'm not great at doing, a lot of creative things. I'm a creative person, but in a different way. His artistic eye is so good. And mine is like, it's all right. So it's okay. Just make sure that you know what you're good at, and then be okay finding help and asking for help. And I know sometimes that's even hard, just asking for help. But don't be scared to ask for help.
Don't be scared.
Sandra, do you find it hard to ask for help?
Sometimes, absolutely. I'm learning a lot about myself. I've been married for 41 years this year.
Congratulations.
Thank you. My husband also is my business partner, and I got to tell you, he's a different guy in this work. He's a different guy, and we're the absolute opposite. I'm the go-getter. And the benefit of that is when I'm a whirlwind in a room, he's sitting somewhere quietly. And when I'm whirling and doing things or training or whatever, when we have an opportunity to debrief, there are so many critical things that his eye caught sitting still. And I value that so much. Yeah.
Well, you're both very, very blessed to have such good partners that not only complement the work that you do, but that you're able to work together and live together. But we don't want to discourage people who don't necessarily have that. They can still be very successful, and whether it's a best friend or a sibling or
all alone.
Right, or all alone. There is a way to do this. So, Donna, again, I've been to Halo Heat. Mm-hmm. It is a beautiful, it's a beautiful venue. What are your plans in terms of next steps for Halo Heat?
Newsflash, we are moving into franchising. Yes. So it is our anniversary, our 1-year anniversary. And as a part of that, we're announcing that we're tackling the Midwest. That's our first territory. So anyone that is thinking about wanting to start a wellness type of business, a healthcare type of business, we're open for business. And as a early adopter of our systems, happy to give you extra support and hold your hand along the way. So, which again, don't be afraid to ask for help, and we're
right.
willing to give you some extra help if you're willing to go along this journey with us.
Congratulations.
Well, congratulations
awesome.
on the upcoming 1 year anniversary
Yes.
in just a few days. And, you know, it seems to me that what I've heard you women say is you found a need. It's almost like that story where they said, you know, if you're looking for a book and you know you kind of want to read a story and you can't find that book, then you have to write the book yourself. Well, you ladies wrote the book.
Uh-oh.
And for our audience, it's here in Aurora. What's so exciting is that this is available to all of us right here in Aurora. So with that, I want to thank you so much to Donna and to Sandra for sharing your stories and for just your brilliance and your unwavering dedication to our community. From building wellness sanctuaries to reimagining leadership training, your work is a testament to the power of passion, innovation, and resilience. If you are a business owner or someone thinking about launching your next venture, do it right here. Reach out to us. Let's talk about your vision. If you're interested in becoming a member of the Alliance, send us an email or call us at 630-256-3181. To our viewers, be sure to check out Halo Heat Sauna Studios. I mean, really, you want to buy one of the packages. Once you start, you're going to want to go all the time. I can tell you that for sure. And be sure to get information and hire DVA Leadership and Development to support and connect with these inspiring local businesses. Make sure you look them up and contact them. Your employees need them. You need them.
Absolutely.
Thank you for watching Aurora, It's Your Business. At the end of the day, remember, we are here to highlight the amazing talent in Aurora and to have these conversations. Until next time, Aurora, It's Your Business.
Thank you so much.
Thank you,
Kelly.
ladies.